Hello, beautiful people. It's Bonnie Gillespie coming at you on Wednesday, the 30th of January. The year is like a 12th over already. 2019, for those of you watching in replay going, when was this? There you go. It was, and currently is, January 30th, 2019. I'm Bonnie Gillespie, and thank you for watching the replay. If you are joining us after the fact, those of you who are loading in now on the Facebook Live here during the broadcast time, welcome, welcome. Say hello so I know that things are working. I'm using a slightly different setup than I usually do. Hello, Bernard from London. Okay, folks, loading in. Carlos, hello, good to see you. Latrice, congratulations. I got to cast you. How happy does that make me? Super happy. Love casting my students. That's like the coolest. Hello, Amy Lee. So glad you could join in. Good. Okay, I'm happy to see London showing up. Hi, Lisa. Good to see you, sweetheart. Because I got some feedback that when I start at 2:30 Pacific, that is a little on the late side for London. But I'm always trying to like find that sweet spot of the right time for LA, the right time for New York, the right time for London, the right time for Sydney, because those are like my four main pockets of folks who like to come in and join live. So hello, Linda. Hello, Kim. So good to see you, sweetheart. Thank you for joining us on the team. Hello, Brian from Atlanta. Amber, hi. Hope things are going well for you in this new year. Yeah, Latrice, thank you. Thank you for solving a problem we had in casting. And guys, let's start off with that. So Latrice here is someone that I just cast in a role that I'm super excited about, in a project that I'm super excited about. I wrote about it in the recent Bond Blast, not about casting Latrice specifically, but about you handing us your nose. And if you read that in the recent Bond Blast, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you're like, no, I don't get the Bond Blast, oh my God, fix that. Please go to BonnieGillespie.com right now and get on the mailing list so that you're receiving Bond Blast. But also you can read that Bond Blast at my website if you did miss it. So hi, Erin. Thank you so much for being here. Love you, sweetheart. It's so appreciate you. We basically put all the Bond Blasts, not all, a good portion of the Bond Blasts end up on my blog as well, because they end up being pretty good articles. And I'm like, well, let's go ahead and put them out on the website. And that also helps you if you're just joining your time in the Bonnie Gillespie world. You're able to go over to the website and read some old columns and broadcasts at YouTube, as well as embedded in my website. And you're not reading those, you're watching those, but you get my point. You're able to consume all the goodies that we're putting out in the world. Sandy is here from Chicago. I'm 70 and enjoying a nice acting career. Yes, you are. Love that. Awesome, Sandy. So back to Latrice and the casting issue. Hi, Scott. Good to see you. When I am looking for actors to help us populate a project, and this is true for all casting directors, we have a list of problems. These problems are called roles, and we're looking for solutions. We're looking for answers to these problems, solutions to the problems. And so when we're able to find an actor that is a solution to a problem that we have, awesome. We are relieved. And so the mindset that a lot of actors have about how casting directors have something I want, and I need to then be impressing the casting director so that I can get that thing that I want, and they feel that this power distribution is kind of like, I've heard casting directors referred to as gatekeepers, and as if there's this magical thing that we're holding on to and that actors have to somehow earn or deserve or be talented enough to receive or network enough to get access to or have the right agent to get, and all that kind of stuff. And the truth of it is, you are helping us by solving a problem. When you look like a solution to a problem that we have in our job, which is casting this role, you are actually helping us. And so the power is actually in your hands. And I think that we've got decades of a kind of twisted Hollywood structure that, of course, started with the studio system and pretty much having actors be enslaved to these studios in terms of how much they were earning for how much they had to put in, and what the studio gained from having these actors in these holding tanks waiting for when it's time to shoot. And just being a part of that studio system structure. And I think that power structure has only been bastardized and manipulated in the decades since the studio system collapsed. And I think we're now seeing a shift where hopefully more and more people are getting the mindset of, guys, ain't nobody in this industry earn a penny if not for actors. So y'all got a lot of power. And if you would just get your shit together and mobilize and be aware of the power that you wield, you wouldn't walk into any audition ever feeling powerless. And certainly you wouldn't feel as if there's, some gatekeeper that's withholding something from you, because nobody got that kind of power. If you are the right person for the role, if you are the person that my boss tells me we're hiring, it doesn't matter. I can hate you. I can outright hate you personally. And if I've been hired to cast a project and the producer's crazy about you, you're going to get the job, and it doesn't matter how I feel about it. And so I want you to consider that part of your relationship building needs to also include not just the casting director. And of course, right now, a lot of people are focused on the mindset of getting an agent, knowing that drop season will be coming at the end of pilot season. And I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you at once. And of course, the topic today is, am I too old to be an actor? Ta-da! But I wanted to just hit that right off the top, because the Bond blast that may have led you here, that lets you know that we're doing this broadcast today, was all about the fact that sometimes you're handing over your no. You are casting directors, agents, producers, everybody who's on the buyer side of things. We are looking for ways to say no to people. And I don't mean that in the like, oh, we're hoping to be able to say no. It's that anything that makes it easier for us to make a decision, we're going to gravitate toward that. That's human nature. That's life. That's being efficient. We are always going to go to the thing that makes it easier to make a decision. Just imagine being incredibly hungry and not being able to make a decision because there's so many food options available. And if somebody simplifies it and just puts something in front of you and says, here, eat this, you will eat and get your nourishment because you didn't have to make a decision about it. And so in that regard, we are looking for things to be simplified. And when you hand me a no, you simplify things. You take yourself out of the running. And so, as I mentioned in the Bond blast this week, the no that I had been handed for this particular project where I was able to cast Latrice is I was showing the director and the creator of the series some people that I thought might be in alignment with what he was looking for. So hang on, let me. Cinnamon. This is amazing, by the way. This is just, I'm using a water bottle over again, which I know is a horrible habit, but I'm doing it. But is this kind of plastic's not meant to be reused over and over again, but I'm using it anyway. And there's cinnamon in here, and it's really good. Oh my gosh. So it's like cinnamon tea. You steep the cinnamon sticks, and then it's cinnamon tea. And it is really refreshing. Wait. Let's see. At a family dinner, well-meaning kind of drunk friend said, don't you think you're a little too old to do this? Kate. Woo! You know what? That's that friend's shit, not your shit. We're going to get into that. Let me wrap up the handing your nose thing. The project that we're working on is this innovative new series for Twitch. It's about to start its second season, and Bernie Sue is the creator, and of course he's the multi-Emmy award-winning creator behind the Emmy award-winning Emma Bennett Diaries. Do I have that right? The Lizzie Bennett Diaries, Emma approved. Okay, all of that. He also did Compulsions before that. He's had so many groundbreaking series, and Artificial is this one that he's doing for Twitch. And it's phenomenal. It's Twitch's first ever hybrid scripted, live, interactive, so real-time responsive series. Like, it's phenomenal. It's loosely scripted, but then there's feedback and interaction from the fans because it's Twitch, and decisions are made kind of choose your own adventure style. So it's really cool, and I love being a part of groundbreaking projects that are kind of at the edge, the leading edge of new developments in terms of entertainment. And so this is one of those. And one of the things that Bernie had said was, here's the kind of person we're looking for, and he gave me the breakdown basically, and I went, I know a couple people that I've already worked with in self-management for actors who are just exactly right for this. Let me make sure that I'm understanding him correctly. And I just sent him links to a couple of actors' websites to say, like this, and he was able to write back and go, yep, you're on the right track, exactly that. And so all those people got auditions, and a couple of them got callbacks. But one of the people that I had said, oh, this is perfect for so-and-so, I went to her website, and she's selling something completely different from who she is in the room. And I know this because I've worked with her in the room. She's auditioned for me before. She's taken the self-management for actors classes. Like, I know her in real life. And when I went to her website, there's nothing on her website that shows she can play this role. She's actively pushing against who she is in the room. And, you know, obviously your call as an actor, you may decide you don't want to do work that aligns with the brand that you are told that you could slam dunk. When you take the self-management for actors tools and do the typing and branding work and get feedback in your branding surveys. And if you're watching this going, I don't know what you're talking about, please Google Bonnie Gillespie brand revealed or type survey. Any of that will get you to a YouTube video or Facebook Live replay that I did where I talk you through exactly how to conduct a type survey. And I think Aaron will actually be able to drop the link directly to the your type and brand revealed tutorial in the comments here. So be on the lookout here if you're watching at Facebook. If you're watching at YouTube, come on over to my Facebook page to see the comments and the links, because I didn't install or I didn't upgrade that thing that lets me put my links across the screen. I have it, I just haven't upgraded it yet, and I need to teach myself how to use it again in this new setup. So coming soon. Technical thing, doesn't matter. Point is, when you find out what your type is and you find out what you're selling, when you get a sense of your brand, if you're not gonna then lean into that, you're teaching the buyers, no, I want to go this way. And that's fine. It's your prerogative. You can go any kind of way you want. The problem is, if you walk in the room not selling exactly that, you're gonna find you get not invited into those rooms anymore, because you just sold me something on your website that when you walked in the room, you couldn't match. And that is a major problem in casting, and it happens a lot. And now I'm starting to see one of the issues of shooting this time of day. I'm about to have a big light flare from my desk, and I just had to move my phone because it was like catching the light and putting like, never mind. I'm gonna get distracted by things always, if not my hair, the sun, and how I'm sitting. So I gotta like lean up like this. All right, so point being, I realized I had someone who I thought was perfect for this role that I could not put in front of Bernie because she wasn't showing me anything on her website that indicated she was right for it. I did still give her the opportunity to self-tape because I knew that she was going to shoot a self-tape that would show him that she was right for the role in who she is in the room and who she is on self-tape, but her web environment, her brand that she's pushing forward with her headshots does not match up at all. So of course you play this out to, what if I were a casting director who doesn't know her? What if I were a casting director who had put a breakdown out on Actors Access and I'm just going through hundreds, if not thousands of headshots to determine who should get an audition? And I wouldn't even give her a second look because she's not selling what it is that I know she can do in the room and what was a good fit for this role. So something to keep in mind. If you're handing me a no, if you're handing me a no, I'm going to use it because you make it easy for me to go, okay, great, one less person that I have to worry about. So Scott says, one of my favorite quotes comes from a creative writer friend. Whoever tells you your dreams have an expiration date, do yourself a favor and punch that person in the mouth. Don't know that I would go quite so aggressive, but what I would say is when you ask anyone else's opinion, you're getting their limitations, not yours. That's what I would go with. But a lot of times you're not even asking for an opinion. Kate, in the example that you gave of your slightly tipsy friend who said, aren't you too old to be doing this? You probably didn't say, hey, do you think I'm too old to be an actor? You probably were just talking, and that feedback was brought to you unsolicited. All the more reason to know that's that friend's limitation, not yours. And so this is an enoughness issue, plain and simple. I would recommend that if you really take a look at, okay, Barry, glad that you're headed back to the day job to make your money. Sorry you have to leave us on the broadcast. Thank you for saying goodbye. Thanks, Jim. I'm glad you're enjoying this. Cool, cool, cool. Brenda says, good info. Sometimes I'm not selected to audition because I'm out of the age group, but sometimes I send it to them anyway, just in case. I'm okay with that. You know what? I think I really am okay, Brenda, with if you feel like it's a slam dunk type-wise, even if you're slightly outside the age range, submitting yourself and letting us take a look at what you've got, self-taping, showing us, free audition, great. Why wouldn't we look at it? It's like handing me a lottery ticket, a scratcher, and saying, scratch it if you want. Like, of course I'm going to, because there may be winning numbers under there. So you got to remember that your buyers are always working on other projects coming down the line. We are never like, oh, I'm retiring tomorrow and this is the only casting that I'm doing. But a lot of actors treat casting as if it's only taking place today, and this is the one project. And yes, I understand that it is taking place today, so you do have to be focused on that to some degree, but far better to take a look at the overall lifespan of this casting director and you as an artist, and how you're going to intersect many times over the course of your creative careers. And you want to be able to connect with one another in a way that shows us what it is that you do best. And so even if it's not exactly the right role for you at this time, you putting your stuff on my radar is going to make me know who you are and what you're great at. And you audition on brand, you show me who you are as a storyteller. I remember that for next time. And even if this isn't the right fit, you have to trust that there are many other roles coming down the line, and building a fan out of me is an investment in all the future work that we could potentially do together. Got a good sense of my brand this past weekend while on set. I've been cast in several indies that cast me as a cross between Berta on 2.5 Men, Adam Goldberg on The Goldbergs, and Peggy on Mike and Molly. That is a really specific brand intersection. And I like that. Keep in mind, Brenda, with indies, that you may find there's a little more range that you're allowed to have than if you were working on studio level projects. And I mention that because we always have to keep the tier structure in mind. And if you're new to the Boniverse and don't know what I mean by tiers, Erin will drop a link in here as me for tiers defined, but you can also just Google Bonnie Gillespie tiers defined, and I have a little broadcast that I did about understanding the tiers, and there's also a handout with the Self-Management for Actors hot sheets, the SMFA hot sheets. There's a graphic depiction of the tiers so that you know where you are within that structure. And the reason I bring that up is yesterday I was actually at UC Irvine. I was doing a guest teaching thing at UC Irvine, which I do every semester in the business of acting class there. And there was an actor who was explaining that she always gets typing feedback that is way more in-depth and nuanced and layered and textured and multifaceted than she tends to go out right now for auditions. And I'm like, right, because of your tier. And that's because you're currently trying to get that first co-star. And when you're trying to get that first co-star, when you're trying to get that first network role, you don't get a bunch of backstory. Your role is basic. Your role is simple, straightforward, one-liner, sometimes a single word. And there's not backstory. We're not peeling the onion. We're not looking for all the layers to who you are as a character. And so what I would recommend is that you take a look at not just what your type is, but what your tier is, because that definitely has something to do with how deep you can go with the characters that you are capable of creating. And at a higher tier, when you're doing guest star and above, absolutely, we can uncover all sorts of backstory about you. And if you're a series regular at the tier even beyond guest star and recurring, you are able to give us seasons of backstory and history and so much more time for your character to be developed. Similarly for film, leads obviously have way more character development than the small supporting roles. And so it's important for you to know that it's not just about your type, it's also about your tier. And you may not be given the opportunity to show as much of who you are in the depths of your overall brand when you're doing those entry-level co-star roles. And that's okay. That's part of why you create your own content, so that you can show us things that you're capable of beyond the tier where you currently sit. So you're always kind of navigating multiple tiers at the same time. You're trying to get that first network co-star to get into that world of those tiers, but you can also create your own indie content that's much more low budget that allows you to showcase what the depths are that you can take us to in terms of the characters that you portray and the storytelling that you do when we're ready to give you access to that next tier, which of course comes with proving that you can manage to not get fired off the set at the earlier tier. That co-star, you didn't get edited out, you didn't get an actor delete form filled out on you at the union and get downgraded out of the credits and everything. Like, those are the kinds of things that we're looking for in terms of risk management. So where age falls into all of this, your enoughness has to be the question that we answer first. And here's what I mean by that. I have very high enoughness where age is concerned. I have not been hung up about my age probably ever. I can't explain what it is about me that inherently makes me not buy into the belief that you've only got a certain number of good years, or there's only so long that you have to make it in a career or in personal life. I, as a non-breeder, I never had that ticking clock of that biological clock ticking of if I don't have a baby, I'm somehow less of a woman or whatever. And those, I think I just grew up never having any stress about aging. Even though I started out as a kid actor. So I was very definitely pursuing an on-camera career and doing lots of work on stage and screen growing up. So I was certainly exposed to people who were incredibly tweaked out about age and who would get really obsessed with, time's running out. And if I haven't made it by the time I'm this, that'll happen. And now as I'm saying this, I'm realizing I actually did have one of those moments when I turned 20. I think maybe I fixed this after I turned 20. I remember waking up crying on my 20th birthday because I always had, as a kid actor, I always had this idea that when I turned 20, by the time I turned 20, Mary Hart on Entertainment Tonight was going to be announcing my birthday by the time I had my 20th birthday. So when I woke up 20, knowing Mary Hart is not going to be wishing me happy birthday at the end of Entertainment Tonight, I cried. I was so upset. I was a failure at 20 because I hadn't created a reality out of my childhood actor dreams. And I think it was kind of a wake-up call for me to have that moment of like seriously on the floor on a futon at my friend's house where we had just had a raging party for my birthday the night before. And so we'd had so much fun and then woke up feeling so depressed that I hadn't made it. And then went, you're 20. you're 20, child. You are 20. You need to get this shit right. Like what the actual. So something clicked for me then, and I am seriously getting reflection off everything that's on my desk, and I'm trying to reposition things so that I'm not blinded and my skin doesn't become like blindingly white as stuff like, oh my God, my desk is a reflective surface. Who knew? My desk is wood. Apparently wood reflects light because I got no kind of light going on here except the sun reflecting off my desk, and it's actually starting to blind me now. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by my light situation. All right, let me just lean in a little bit. That'll help. And I think that it just kind of made things real for me that I had unrealistic expectations for that age, and was also just completely crazy to think that I was now a failure at 20. And so I just got over it and decided age is a number and it doesn't matter, and I can make my dreams happen anytime that I want to. And things just shifted for me. Now, people in my family liked to make sure that they were letting me know my age. They were definitely interested in that. I had a great aunt, who until I was 37, every single time we talked on the phone, she would say, when are you going to stop this foolishness and come home? When are you going to stop this foolishness? This foolishness was this. By the time I was 37, I had been a published author for 5 years. I had been a columnist for actors for 8 years. I had been a casting director for 4 years. I had toured the world teaching and speaking and signing books and changing lives. And she was labeling that this foolishness because it was a showbiz career. And in her world, showbiz is not a career. And I needed to stop doing that and come home. And I was like, and by then I had lived in LA most of my adult life. So it seemed very strange that come home to her was, come to Atlanta, the place where you grew up and then, left. Like I should and do what? And if it was up to her, it would be, make babies and go into banking or real estate or something, because these were safe careers. And I just found myself going, well, talking to her every time is going to be just a bunch of fun, because she's always going to let me know that I'm aging and have chosen a career that she doesn't support. And I want you to notice how I framed that. Talking to her showed me her enoughness regarding age and career choice and motherhood, probably. None of it had anything to do with my enoughness regarding those issues. So here's, to go back to Kate's example of the semi-drunken friend who decided to say, aren't you too old? Aren't you a little too old to be doing this acting thing? Helpful things like that. All that person has done is show you their level of enoughness with regard to the topic. If, however, your enoughness with regard to the topic is similarly low, you will hear that and it will land like a punch in the gut, and it will make you question your choices. And it's not because they said a thing, it's because your enoughness was already shaky and they said something that reinforced a fear that you are already carrying around. So I like to get really clear about whose enoughness I'm measuring when there's a strong opinion like that. And so if you come back at me with, but Bonnie, it's true, there are fewer roles the older we get, I can back that up with a counter argument of there are also fewer actors pursuing the older we get. So it doesn't matter that there are fewer roles, because the odds remain the same. Get it? You're fine. You're fine. And in fact, the older you get, the more attrition we see, and the better your opportunity is to get cast as you age. And depending on your tier, to bring it back to that whole, if you're at the co-star tier and trying to get that first network co-star where you don't have the opportunity to develop a lot of backstory or a lot of character exposition, and you're really just there to function as a utility player to help move the scene along for the leads, we actually are hungry for older actors who are willing to take a single line. Because many actors at a certain age have been at it long enough that they've moved up to higher tiers, and they don't want to slum it at the co-star level because they've already done that. They don't make $1,000 a day anymore. They don't make $10,000 for a 4-day co-star or guest star week. They are making 5 figures every time they step on set. We can't hire them to do a 1-day co-star. Enter you. There's plenty of opportunity. The question is, where's your enoughness when it comes to age? So I see a lot of comments coming in. Let me do a quick scroll here to see what has come through while I was on all of that. The in-between age, Lisa says, looking too young for some roles, too old for others. Submit anyways, just like you said, found that they call me in for other projects. Yeah, Lisa, let's talk about that. There was someone on our quarterly call. You know, we do the free quarterly call, January. That's a reflection that's, oh my gosh, okay, I'm so distracted by the sunlight. I know, it's like a set of keys being dangled in front of my eyes. I'm just like, ooh, what's that? It's the sun. It's the sun. The quarterly call, if you're not signed up for that, Erin's going to put a link in here where you can get signed up for the quarterly call. It's free. We do it every January, April, July, and October 11th. And on the free quarterly call that we just did, January 11th, this actually came up where someone was saying, I don't know about going in for an audition on this show. There was like a pilot or something casting, and they're like, it's just so not the right fit for me. And now I'm confused about how the buyers see me, because I don't understand how I got this audition for this role. It's so far out of my age range. And I was like, oh, hold up. In pilot casting, we are seeing people for the entire world of the show. knowing that we only have the budget to cast a couple of roles as a part of pilot season, but knowing we need to have a database of actors that we know are right for this world beyond just this episode. And so we can't add another character to the budget for auditions, but we can see actors who we know have no shot at getting this role because it's not the role we're calling them in for, and know, yes, I see that you're ready for working in this world. That's why I say go on the audition. If there's a buyer that you know that you want to connect with, that she regularly casts shit that you know you're right for and that's in the world that turns you on as a storyteller, go. Because you don't know what else we're casting. You don't know what we may actually be looking at you for. And for you to hand us a no before you've even walked in the room is to show that you don't actually understand how sometimes casting works and how many projects are happening simultaneously, and how we kind of got to work people in where we can. Yeah, don't freak out on age, Brenda. No. Candace says, I have more opportunities to audition now than I did in my 20s. Competition was fierce in my younger years. Yeah, for sure. Candace, there's attrition. Because for every Bonnie Gillespie who at 37 can look at her great Aunt Hetty and go, hey, Aunt Hetty, I'm fine. I don't have goals for my life that you have for my life. I am so okay. There is no version of me that is moving back to Atlanta, settling down, getting married, having babies. Like that, she does not exist. So we're not going to agree on what success looks like as a human being ever. But I love you anyway, you crazy old coot. And the reason I think I mentioned the calls happened until I was 37 and then she died. Like it wasn't like at 37 she gave up on me. She died. So she stopped bugging me about being too old for whatever it was that I was doing in Hollywood. But my point is, for every Bonnie Gillespie who sticks with it and stays in the industry as she continues forward on into her 50s and beyond, there is someone who is choosing another route, who is deciding, no, it's not for me. And so the attrition is incredibly real. And the longer you stick with it, the clearer that becomes. And the stronger your relationships become because you've stuck with it. Used to be me, says Amy Lee. Now I'm dating a younger guy, so pretending my biological clock is on his time. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. Fabulous. Fabulous. Yes, JC, Sparkly Vampire. That's me. Let's see here. Who else? We've got, oh my God, people amaze me, says Kate. Yes. Jason, I know that at 42, almost 43, I hear from the voices around me, maybe it's just not in the cards for you. And then you said heartbreaking. Jason, it's only heartbreaking if your enoughness believes it's not in the cards for you. Because you may be sitting at a place of low enoughness with this, and when someone says it's not in the cards for you, or when those other voices in your own head say maybe it's not in the cards for you, you're confirming a fear. But if you've got high enoughness and you're like, oh no, this is my life and this is what I'm doing for a living, and I'm not going to be deterred by the fact that it may take longer than I thought it would take, or it may not be in my 40s even that it happens. Like if I told you, if I could guarantee to you right now, Jason, that you're not going to make it until you're 50, and you're almost 43 right now, would you go, oh, okay, cool, I can relax. I can just spend the rest of my 40s doing things that turn me on and building relationships and having fun with the kinds of stories that mean the most to me, and let myself off the hook about any kind of achievement and instead just go forth through the process of being a storyteller, having a blast? Would you do that? Or would you say, well, no, if I can't make it by the time I'm 44, my life has been a waste. And if it's that, then stop now. Because no one can guarantee you're going to make it any kind of time. And the goal is to be filled with joy along the journey. And then you find the work comes like way faster when you're not attached to how it gets to you or on what timeline it happens. Oh my God, there's so many comments. Oh my God, I just realized there's so many comments. Oh my God, you guys are great. I love seeing y'all chatting with one another. Yeah, they're showing you their enoughness on the topic. That's right. That's right. Yeah, Oren, when are you going to stop this foolishness is like, when are you going to start living out our expectations instead of your choices for who you are? And I just looked at my inside of my mouth on this. The kale is staining my tongue. That's amazing. I love it. I love it. Oh, I love all this conversation you guys are having. Yeah, and oh my God, okay, those of you who are 70, you are my pace cars. I'm watching y'all and going, look at how hot 70 is. Like 70 can get it. I am so okay with what's headed down the line for me, and y'all are seriously pace cars and role models for how 70 can be so fucking amazing. And I needed that. My parents were so old when I was born, I mean, they were. My mom passed away 18 plus years ago, but my dad just turned 85. My parents were in their late 30s when I was born. And this was in 1970 when you didn't have kids in your late 30s. You barely had kids in your 30s. You had them all through your 20s. And certainly by 33, 34, you were done. And so for my parents to be in their late 30s when I was born, there was just generationally a very different story for me about what aging looked like. And I love connecting with people in the industry who are 70 and 70 plus. My mentor, Judy Kerr, just turned 80 over the weekend. And I mean, vibrant, so with it. Like, oh my God, it still teaches me something every damn day. And I just freaking love having those kinds of role models out there. And so what I would love, Jim, I love that you own your zone. Yes. Yes, 65. Yes, take that one line, no problem. Oh my God, I love it. Yeah, I mean, I think that really is what it comes down to, is being okay with what those options are for taking that one liner and going, great, I'm happy to do it. Let's do it. Heck yeah, my enoughness is not going to be defined by somebody else's limitations. Yes, okay. Oh my God, Kate says, oh my God, oh my God. Well, good, Brenda. I'm glad this is helpful. Yes, Elizabeth, sorry I'm late. Was at a job interview at 65. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do, lady. That makes me so happy. Awesome. Corian at 48. I'm still at it, bitches. I love it. See, that's it. But and see, that's why I know it's an inside job. It doesn't matter what someone outside of you says, because if your inside level, resting level of enoughness regarding age is solid, you're unshakable. Anybody from outside of you can share whatever opinion they have, and they are just telling you their own limitations, not yours. Yeah, and Kate says it definitely lit a fire under my butt. Yeah, her issues, not yours. Yep, faux show. Oh my goodness, yes. Yes, Elaine, been doing it 10 years, just turned 60. Ah, delicious, delicious. Elaine, fantastic. There is no age limit, yes. That's phenomenal. Oh my gosh. Yes. Your gateway to the Boniverse, Scott. Yeah. Judy Kerr was a lot of people's gateway into the Boniverse. Judy Kerr is amazing. Those who don't know Judy, her book, Acting is Everything, is like the big sister to Self-Management for Actors. Self-Management for Actors wouldn't exist if not for Judy Kerr encouraging us to self-publish, because I had been given not been given a book deal. I had been offered a book deal through a publishing company that was a part of the parent company of Backstage, where I was a columnist 20 years ago, coming up on 20 years ago. And the book deal was pretty shitty, but pretty standard. And when I say it was pretty shitty, it's because they were going to own the rights to everything that I wrote and also have full editorial control. And I'm like, nope, you don't get to edit my baby and then keep the rights to my baby so I can no longer play with my creation, unless you're spending way, way, way more money than this. Because there is a price. I can be bought out, but the price they were offering was not the price. And Judy took us to breakfast in 2002 and said, you don't have to go through a major publishing company. She's like, it's great. It feels fantastic if you get a major publishing company interested in you, but you can do it on your own as long as you have international distribution. And she connected us with her international distributor, which is still our international distributor. And it's true, as long as your book can get everywhere in the world, which is a part of distribution, it's not a function of publishing, then who cares who published it? No, like nobody runs to the store and says, oh, I cannot wait for the latest Penguin book. I mean, no shade on Penguin, but there's nobody running to the store looking for the next thing from Macmillan. Like that's not how it works. Like you look for the next book from the author. Yes, the limit does not exist, says JC. Awesome. Thank you, Brenda. I'm so glad. I'm glad you're having fun. What questions might y'all have for me on this glorious Facebook Live? Thank you for sharing this broadcast so that it can get out into the world a little more. That is always a challenge with the Facebook algorithm, so I appreciate that. If you're not already in our Facebook group, please come over to the Self-Management for Actors Facebook group and join in. We have a lot of really fun activities coming up for actors and other showbiz storytelling creatives in our Facebook group, and I cannot wait to share all the goodness that is in store, because we're coming up on my 20th anniversary writing for actors. For fuck's sake, 20 years writing advice columns for actors. So we're going to do a lot of stuff. It's going to be an amazing year. Already is. We already have so much happening, and it's just a pretty exciting time. So I'm happy to help with any questions y'all have as we round out the last little bit of our Facebook Live session. So let me rehydrate, and feel free to ask any questions. Thank you, Amy Lee. I'm excited. I'm like, what? 20 years? How is that possible? And I'm like, yep. Oh my gosh. 20 years of answering actor questions. What? Crazy. My hair isn't completely gray yet, considering helping it along. Elizabeth, that's an interesting choice. Thank you, Kim. Love you, sweetheart. I have seen that work, and I know a lot of people play with wigs to go all the way gray before they actually do it, to see if it changes their castability. Play with that. Why don't you take some shots with a couple different looks to see how that feels, like submitting those. But you know, wigs are an interesting thing, because I mean, most people just look like you're wearing a wig. Like, it is really challenging to make it not look like you're wearing a wig. But I've seen some people get cast way more when they do go all the way gray. Yeah, right, JC. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad you dropped the 20 years number. It puts a lot into perspective in terms of the amount of time I've been hustling as an actor. Awesome, Vanita. Good. Good, good. Thank you, Scott. Brenda, don't have the heart to go gray? Then don't. Girl, don't do it. Oh my God, this past year has made me so gray. I have just like these massive streaks of silver all through here. The thing is, my coloring is already so, you know, Scotch Irish, like I am, that it looks like blonde highlights. So I'm like, I'll take it. I mean, I don't care. I would go Lori Records full on silver if my hair wanted to do that, because I just think it's so gorgeous. Like, I find it stunningly attractive, but it's not what my body wants to do yet. So I'm sure it's coming on. It's coming on strong though. Like, I am definitely seeing way more grays at 48 than I saw at even 46, 47. So Catherine getting cast so much more at 50 plus gray. Awesome. See, so Catherine, that right there is data that tells you don't become uncastable at a certain age or a certain hair color or a certain weight, y'all. I mean, throw them all in there. Like, there's not something inherently uncastable about anything. Oh, y'all, I got the sweetest DM from one of the UC Irvine kids after my talk yesterday. So, you know, I mentioned I went to UC Irvine, and I go there every semester to speak at their business of acting class. And thank you, Stephanie. And I spoke about knowing what your brand umbrella is, and we walked through the 4 pillars of self-management for actors, and of course I answered all their questions, and it's just an amazing time. And of course I'm there catching a bunch of, you know, 19, 20-year-olds, some 21-year-olds probably, and so I'm doing a lot of conversation about that resting state of enoughness. Like, where is your enoughness, and how many messages you get from outside yourself that are about their enoughness and not your own. And so, I mean, this is something that there's no such thing as being too young to learn, right? And one of the things that that this particular actor really clicked with was that she was trying to maintain a body type that is not natural to her, that is incredibly stressful for her to achieve or maintain, and doesn't even align with the types of roles that she goes out for. And so her DM to me after my talk at UC Irvine yesterday was, I am so happy. I just went and had McDonald's French fries for the first time in years because I've been forcing myself to eat smoothies and celery sticks because I thought my body had to look a certain kind of way in order to get cast. Thank you for unlocking that my brand is way more about my vibe and how I feel and my resting state of enoughness. And I really enjoyed those French fries. And I was so happy to read that because I'm like, oh my God, if you've had some kind of like body issue that was specifically because somewhere you heard the message that you're more castable if you're skinny, if that doesn't even work for your brand, holy shit, what a relief to not have to try and maintain something that is outside your brand and your castability anyway. Just insane. But that was the kind of thing that she had been struggling with. And I guess she got some freedom from that yesterday. So I'm super happy to hear that. Usually cast for comedic roles, but I can cry on cue. Brenda, that's awesome. But most actors should be able to cry on cue. Like, it's one of your tools that you should be able to explore all the emotions on demand. I mean, on command, because that's what acting is that you're able to get there, whatever the role entails. And we assume that actors who are incredible at comedic work can do drama because comedy's harder. So I would imagine that is fairly straightforward, that buyers are going to see that you can do comedy and trust that you can also do drama. Wrinkles and gray hair are amazing, says Eliza. Some of the most interesting roles are being written for older actors, and boy, am I looking forward to booking those. Yeah, right on, girl. Get it. Go get it. Pamela, finally saw and got an audition for something in my age and type range. So rare, as I've entered mom age, but not that look. Yeah, that's challenging. If you don't present as a mom type, even if you're actually a mom, you don't represent on camera what we see as mom. Another example of this is like my husband, Keith. He's former military, and he would not book military roles because even though he has the life experience, he doesn't look like the way television perceives or movies perceive military type. And so that's the part that's so crazy, is that we go with what that looks like a lawyer, not that actually is a lawyer. And so that can be kind of challenging when you're like, oh, I've aged into mom roles, but I don't have a mom look. But that's okay, because not everybody who's mom age has to play a mom. There are other people in the world that are that age that don't have the story of being a mom. How do you balance the need to create with the need to pay rent? Yeah, Pamela, that's a good one. I think it is a balance. That's the right word for it, is that you create enough to keep your soul on fire. You create enough to show the buyers that you're low risk to be considered for a certain kind of role or a certain kind of vibe or a certain kind of world. You create content because it feels great to create content and to be a storyteller, and you don't create it so often that you are calling in sick to your jobby job, because you got to pay the bills. But it's balance. It's just time management and being able to know when your well is starting to run dry for creativity, so that you can then get on the books, another thing to create. Because if you're like, oh, I've been working too many shifts and now I need to go create something because it's starting to like make my creative heart die a little bit, and make sure that you get that that time management factored in. Brenda wants to know, does cinnamon water help with weight loss? I have no idea. I have no idea. I lost 60 pounds doing Whole30 lifestyle and stopping drinking, because, well, Whole30 is no alcohol. Whole30 is no alcohol, no sugar, no grains, no dairy, no legumes, no carrageenans, no soy. It's a very strict 30-day elimination diet. And in doing the Whole30 by the books in August of 2016, I lost 12.5 pounds without any kind of change to my exercise life, eating as much as I wanted, just always following the plate map, which was the most important part of Whole30, was just always follow the plate map. Even if you're like snacking, you have to follow the plate map. and that's a certain proportion of the good greens and all the yummy veggies and healthy fats, and then protein, and then optional fruit, sparingly used, because of course that's sugar. So after doing Whole30 and getting really clear that my body runs really well without certain things in it, and actually some of the things that I was choosing to eat were poison, some of the things I was choosing to eat became clearly medicine. As soon as I just started eating in a more aligned way, the weight just started falling off. And over the course of 5.5 months, I lost 55 pounds without ever feeling deprived and without changing my exercise at all. My fitness routine didn't change until I was like, ooh, I want to now like move around some of the things on my body that are now kind of saggy because I used to have so much more weight. So I started doing Pilates to tone and to get a leaner shape. And that was the only change that I made in terms of physical fitness. The rest I was continuing to do my pole fitness, which has been my primary go-to fitness since 2012. Amy Lee, I was so nervous to come back to LA the last time I was there after a hormone imbalance caused my body to change. I love that. No one cared. I was shocked how much things have changed since my first visit to LA 10 years ago. Yeah, you know what, Amy Lee, I'm going to say LA probably, yes, is shifting, but also your resting level of enoughness may have been better than you think. Because you came. That's how I know. Because if you were really feeling like the major body shame, you wouldn't have made the trip, because you would have been too worried about what LA would do to your head. And the fact that you made the trip tells me that you somewhere knew, I can still work. I can still find the right people, even though the messages I was getting from LA 10 years before were about body size and obsession. Thoughts on Botox, yes or no? Candace, no for me, and no for anybody who needs to be able to be way expressive. Like you see, like I'm constantly raising my eyebrows and being incredibly expressive with my forehead. So even though sometimes I look at it and go, oh my God, you really talk with your forehead a lot. I'm like, I think it looks weird when a part of your body is paralyzed and you're trying to emote. What I mean is when a part of your body is voluntarily paralyzed so that it can't do the things that it naturally would do when you're emoting, it makes it actually more challenging to cast you in certain roles. So again, it's going to depend on your brand. It's going to depend on your brand. It's going to depend on your tier. You know, there are certain people who believe that it is a requirement of their look and their brand, and it works for them. And there are people who have been able to get Botox, and I've not been terribly distracted by it. So I think it's all about the execution and the why behind the what. Like, where does it align with your brand and your happiness, of course. Yes, Whole30 sounds high protein, which is my cup of tea. Brenda, yeah, if you Google Bonnie Gillespie Whole30, I actually wrote up a whole big post about my Whole30 results and my tips on how to do it in a really healthy way. And I included links to, I created a Whole30 Facebook group for SMFA Ninjas, just for my own support and accountability. And we still to this day, not frequently, but occasionally share recipes and tips and pictures of our food and our plates to say, is this matching the plate map? Are there any suggestions? Or what is a great substitution for XYZ in this recipe? So just Bonnie Gillespie Whole30, Google that and you'll land on all of that. And we're happy to support you in all of that. You're in another round right now, Latrice. You know, like that's, for me, Whole30 was a game changer just because it taught me what my body uses as fuel and what it has to fight off. And once I learned, oh my God, I am voluntarily putting shit in my body that my body then has to go to war on every day. Vodka, cheese. I went, well, I can stop that. Let's stop having a war over the things that I put in my body for fuel. And so like last night I ate the most amazing, sweet corn cookie vanilla ice cream sandwich dipped in dulce de leche and sprinkled with black Himalayan salt. I'm actually going to show you. This is what I put up at Instagram. Can you see the gorgeousness? There's a lot of reflection on my screen. Do you see this? I ate my fucking face off. I love that I know how my body works so that I can eat that because I've been running clean for the week before that and still step on the scale and lose weight. Because that doesn't then have to be fought without resources to fight it. Because don't get me wrong, my body had to fight every bit of that sugar and dairy, and boy, was it ready for the fight, because I support my system by eating mostly Whole30 all the time. And so when I do have something that I know my body is going to have to fight, my body has the resources to fight it easily. And then, of course, I went to Pilates this morning and got my butt kicked, because that's what you do. Day 14 on 22-day water fasting. Oh, my God, Dava, that's amazing. Like that just, boy, I can't do fasting because happy belly, happy Bonnie. I got to have fuel. I'm a Cancer. I got to have fuel. My tummy has got to be happy. And so I could never do a water fast like that. But, man, that's impressive. I understand it creates great clarity. Yes, Brenda, 55 pounds in 5.5 months with no stress, no deprivation whatsoever. My need to act has always been my strongest force in my life. Go, Amy Lee. That's amazing. Yay, forehead line people. Woo, 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 woo. Awesome. Yay, cool. Oh, yes, thank you, Erin. I forget. You can plop links down for people. They don't have to do the Googling. That's amazing. Laura, what are you saying what about? What did I make you say what about? Oh, the dessert? I know. Like if I thought it would make it out of the parking lot, I would have bought more to go. But that's all I was looking forward to was that. I also ate a fantastic burger, and I did get some takeout because the place only exists in Irvine and I'm only there once a semester. But this has become like, I got to go to the Cut. I got to go to the Cut. They do have, it's a food truck. So they do have on their website a food truck calendar that shows when it's coming up to LA, but it's like never. And I know I'm going to UC Irvine at least once a quarter, or a semester, or whatever. And so I'm like going to the Cut. I'm gonna eat me some amazing shit. It is freeing, yes. Don't feel weird about getting wrinkles, Latrice. Like it may suit you. It may be more castable for you. The data will tell you. If you've had fans that have brought you in constantly and then suddenly your face starts to change in a way that you're getting feedback that it's a little tough to look at on screen, or they're not seeing you the same kind of way, then you may try something like Botox or whatever. But I just don't feel like that needs to be the first solution ever. Ever. Yeah, I know, Andrew, right? Heart, eyeballs. I owe you email, sweetheart. I owe you email, sweetheart. Oh my gosh. All right. I do know people who've retired from other professions that go into acting. Dwayne, heck yeah. It's a great midlife new thing to try, or a late in life new thing to try, like a third act career. Why not? Remy, it was so fucking good. Like, I can't, I'm like, I want to eat it like 12 more times right now, but holy crap, did I get a sugar high. I totally got a sugar high. Stephanie says, a note on age. Honey, I have earned these wrinkles with both deliciously good life stuff and stressfully hard life stuff. And those years and experience make me a more interesting actor than I was when I was a youngster. Stephanie, yes. Oh my God, I love it. I love it. That is so beautifully said. Thank you. Thank you. Massive clarity and an indescribable state of relaxation. Yeah, Dava, I would bet. I would bet. So good. Oh my God, you beautiful people. Shar started at 65. Yeah, you did. Right on. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So cool. Earned the wrinkles. That's right. Absolutely, y'all. Cool. Are there any more questions that might be coming up along? Erin, would you pop in the link, please, for our free 11-day challenge? And then I'm going to pin it. I want to make sure that people who are new to our world here as we are in pilot season, I know there's a lot more people looking around and considering getting into an acting career, can join our free 11-day challenge. We've made it available year round. This is what we call Getting Gear for the New Year, when we do it all together in December, and we do still do that. But in times outside of December, we have made Getting Gear available for everyone. Thanks, Jeffrey. I appreciate it. Yes, of course, and happy and proud to be a late bloomer, says Kim Estes. By the way, guys, Kim Estes, who's on here, who just said proud to be a late bloomer, That is, his profile says Kim, but it should say Emmy winner Kim Estes, okay? So you can be a late bloomer, a late starter, a midlifer, have some gray going, and get your Emmy. His first Emmy. There are more coming. Just let's be clear. Which, by the way, I posted this at Instagram as well yesterday. The Television Academy has released the rules for qualifying for the Emmys and the Emmy race for 2019. So please make sure that if you have been considering doing a run for the Emmys, that you take a look at what the rules are and do what you can to make sure that the work you're doing qualifies so that you can enter the Emmy race and become forever known as Emmy winning actor, creator, writer, badass that you are, because that's fun at any age. Oh my gosh. All right, you beautiful people, come join us in the free 11-day challenge if you've not done it before. Over here in the Facebook play here, we've in the comments, we've pinned the comment. It's bonniegillespie.com/gig. If you're watching this replay on YouTube, the link is also below in the description. So please come on over. And wait, I learned how to do a thing on YouTube. So I'm going to point. The link is here. Because when I upload this replay to YouTube, I'm going to put the link there. Oh, no, I can't. Shoot, I can't. No, because I'm not a YouTube partner. So all I can link to is a playlist. Damn it. Brr. I need to do more YouTube stuff so that I can actually put links up there. But anyway, not the point of this conversation. Absolutely my pleasure, Scott. Kim, I love you. Love you guys. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I'm so glad you were able to join me for this chat. I hope the rest of your day goes beautifully well, or your morning if you are watching in another time, or whatever you got ahead. Like, let's make the next hour of your life like amazing. It's so much within your control. Have a blast. Thank you. Love you, beautiful people. Oh my God, you're so awesome. Great. We'll do this again. Please make sure that you keep an eye on the Bonnie Gillespie events calendar. Go to bonniegillespie.com/events. And you will always see when I am going to be going live on the Facebook or having any other kind of fun event. I believe that we may have just booked space for our Los Angeles one-day retreat, the Self-Management for Actors Intensive. So if you've been wanting to do a one-day class with us, be on the lookout for that, because I will make sure to put out the link to register. It will fill up. They always do. And I believe that it's going to be in April, but I just have to check with Keith to make sure that he was able to get the venue today, because that was one of the things on his errand. And I hear that he has come in. So I'm going to go snuggle with my honey for a little bit. Love you, beautiful people. Thank you so much for joining me. And remember, it's never too late unless your enoughness tells you it is. And if that's the problem, work on the enoughness, not the age, because that's not the problem. Love you, beautiful people. Till next time, stay ninja.